Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Harvey, now let me tell you something, because this right here confuses a lot of people. We live in a world where everybody thinks fast means serious. If he texting all day, calling all night, saying I love you in 2 weeks, people think, oh, he in love. No, sometimes fast means careless. Sometimes fast means temporary. Sometimes fast means he just excited, not committed. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Harvey, let me slow this thing down for a minute, because this first point right here is where a lot of people get it twisted. When a man is moving slow, that does not automatically mean he is confused. It does not mean he lacks interest. And it definitely does not mean you are not enough. Most of the time, when a grown man is moving slow, it means he is moving with intention. And intention is something you should respect, not rush. See, men rush things they don't plan to keep. That's the truth. If a man knows deep down he's not serious, he'll move fast. He'll say big words early. He'll make promises before he even understands what he's promising, because he's not thinking about tomorrow. He's thinking about right now. But when a man sees something valuable in front of him, something rare, something different, something he doesn't want to mess up, he slows himself down, not because he's unsure, but because he's careful. You have to understand how men think. A man knows when he messes up with the wrong woman, it's no big deal. But when he messes up with the right one, that regret sits with him for a long time. So when he feels that you might be that woman, he starts watching his steps. He starts thinking before he speaks. He starts checking his own behavior. That slowing down is not hesitation, it's discipline. A man who is intentional wants to build, not impress. Impressing you is easy. Anybody can show up with charm, sweet words, and excitement in the beginning. But building something real requires consistency, character, and patience. And patience is not something men practice unless something truly matters to them. If he's moving slow, it's because he's asking himself real questions. Can I show up the right way? Can I be consistent? Can I protect her heart? Can I afford emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to bring this woman into my life? See, intention changes behavior. An intentional man doesn't want to rush you into feelings before trust is built. He doesn't want to pull you into something unstable. He doesn't want to introduce chaos into your life. He wants to be sure that when he steps forward, he's stepping forward correctly. That's why he's not loud. That's why he's not dramatic. That's why he's not trying to lock you down overnight. He's evaluating, just like you should be. And ladies, let me say this clearly because somebody needs to hear it. Slow does not mean lazy. Slow does not mean inconsistent. Slow does not mean emotionally unavailable. An intentional man is still present. He still communicates. He still shows effort. The difference is he's not forcing intimacy before trust. He's not rushing labels before understanding. He's not creating expectations he's not ready to maintain. A man moving with intention is watching how you handle conflict. He's watching how you treat people. He's watching how you carry yourself when nobody's clapping, because he's not just thinking about dating you, he's thinking about life with you. And life is long. Life is heavy. Life requires a partner, not just attraction. Another thing about an intentional man is this: he respects your pace too. He doesn't pressure you. He doesn't guilt you. He doesn't rush your healing, because he understands that if he's going to be part of your life, he has to honor what you've been through. A man who truly cares will not rush your heart just to satisfy his ego. He's willing to wait because he wants the connection to be real, not fragile. And here's the part most people don't talk about. When a man moves slow, he's also protecting himself. He's protecting his own emotions, his own investment, his own future. Because falling in love is not a game for a grown man. When a man commits emotionally, he commits fully. And he wants to be sure he's making the right decision. That kind of caution comes from maturity, not fear. You see, a boy chases excitement. A man builds stability. A boy wants instant gratification. A man wants something that lasts. That's why a man who's intentional is not competing with other men for speed. He's not trying to prove anything. He's not worried about who's texting you faster, who's calling you more. He's confident that his consistency will speak for him over time. And consistency is louder than intensity. Anybody can be intense for a month. Anybody can be passionate for a season. But showing up steady, calm, and reliable takes character. When a man is intentional, he understands that love is not about fireworks every day. It's about showing up even when it's quiet. So if he's moving slow, but he's showing up, if he's consistent, if he's respectful, if he's intentional with his time and energy, don't let outside noise rush you into misjudging him. The world will tell you that fast love is real love, but fast love often crashes. Slow love builds foundations. And when a man is intentional, he's not wasting time. He's investing it. He's laying bricks, not throwing sparks. And when something is built the right way, it doesn't fall apart easily. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Harvey. Now let me talk to you about this second point, because this one separates a man who is serious from a man who is just entertained. A man who is really in love will listen more than he talks. And I know that sounds simple, but it is powerful, because listening is effort. Listening requires patience. Listening requires humility. And men don't do that unless they truly care. See, when a man is just trying to impress you, he talks a lot. He tells stories. He brags. He paints pictures. He sells dreams. He wants to sound good, look good, and feel good in the moment. He dominates conversations because his goal is to win you over quickly. But when a man is falling in love, something shifts. He stops performing and starts paying attention. A man who listens is a man who is studying you. He wants to understand how you think, not just how you look. He wants to know what made you the way you are. He wants to know what hurt you, what healed you, and what you're still carrying, because a man who loves you knows that your past didn't disappear just because he showed up. And he doesn't see that as a problem. He sees it as a responsibility. Listening is how a man learns how to treat you. Every time you speak, you're giving him a blueprint. You're telling him what matters to you, what makes you feel safe, what makes you shut down, and what makes you feel valued. A man who's serious takes mental notes. He remembers the little things. He remembers how you like your coffee. He remembers what annoys you. He remembers the tone of your voice when something isn't right. That level of attention does not come from attraction alone. That comes from emotional investment. When a man is really in love, he's not listening just to respond. He's listening to understand. That means he's not waiting for his turn to talk. He's not PL, adding his next sentence while you're speaking. He's present, and presence is one of the rarest forms of love in today's world. Everybody's distracted. Everybody's busy. Everybody's half listening. So when a man gives you his full attention, that's not small. That's intentional. And let me tell you something else. A man who listens respects your voice. He doesn't dismiss your feelings. He doesn't minimize your emotions. Even if he doesn't fully understand, he's willing to try. He asks questions. He wants clarity. Because he knows misunderstanding creates distance, and distance kills connection. So instead of assuming, he listens. Now, here's where it really shows. When a man listens, he adjusts his behavior. That's how you know it's real. Anybody can nod their head and say, I hear you. But when a man changes how he moves because of what you shared, that's love in action. If you told him something hurts you and he stops doing it, that's not coincidence. That's care. If you told him something matters to you and he starts prioritizing it, that's not luck. That's intention. A man who is in love doesn't want to be right. He wants to be effective. He wants peace more than ego. So he listens because he understands that relationships are not about winning arguments. They're about maintaining connection. And you can't maintain what you refuse to hear. Listening also means he's comfortable with silence. He doesn't feel the need to fill every quiet moment with noise. He can sit with you. He can be still with you. Because he's not trying to entertain you. He's trying to connect with you. Silence doesn't scare a man who's emotionally invested. Silence is where understanding grows. And ladies, let me say this. When a man listens, he's emotionally available. He's not running from depth. He's not afraid of vulnerability. He's open to real conversations. And men don't open themselves emotionally unless they see long-term potential. A man won't expose his inner world to someone he plans to lose. Listening is also how a man protects you. When he knows your triggers, he knows what not to play with. When he knows your fears, He knows what not to joke about. When he knows your dreams, he knows what to support. That kind of awareness only comes from paying attention over time. And that's why men who move slow often listen more. They're not rushing to define the relationship because they're still learning you. They want to be sure they can handle you, honor you, and lead you properly. They understand that love without understanding is dangerous. So they slow down, they listen, and they grow into the role. So if he's quiet sometimes, if he asks thoughtful questions, if he remembers things you didn't think mattered, if he adjusts his actions based on your words, don't overlook that. That's not passivity. That's presence. That's a man who is emotionally invested, building connection brick by brick, not rushing through the process. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Harvey. Why? Now, this third point right here is where real love starts to separate itself from attraction. Because a man who is truly in love will protect your peace. And I want you to really hear that, because a lot of people think love is about excitement, passion, and intensity. But love, real love, is about stability. It's about safety. It's about knowing that the person in your life is not going to be the source of your stress. When a man is serious about you, he is mindful of how he shows up. He understands that his words carry weight. He understands that his actions can either calm you or disturb you. So he moves with care. He doesn't bring unnecessary drama. He doesn't play emotional games. He doesn't keep you guessing about where you stand. Confusion is not love. Confusion is a sign that someone is not being considerate of your emotional well-being. A man who protects your peace does not thrive on chaos. He doesn't create problems just to feel in control. He doesn't disappear for days and come back like nothing happened. He doesn't leave you questioning your worth or your place in his life. Instead, he communicates, even when things are uncomfortable. He chooses clarity over silence that hurt. See, when a man loves you, he becomes aware of your nervous system. He notices when you're overwhelmed. He notices when your energy shifts. He notices when something is off, even if you don't say it out loud. And instead of ignoring it, he addresses it. Because your peace matters to him as much as his own. Protecting your peace also means he handles conflict differently. He's not trying to win arguments. He's trying to resolve issues. He doesn't raise his voice to overpower you. He doesn't belittle your feelings. He understands that respect is non-negotiable, because once respect is lost, love cannot survive. A man who is emotionally invested will think before he reacts. He doesn't let ego control the moment. He pauses. He reflects. He chooses words that heal instead of words that harm. That level of self-control does not come from fear. It comes from care. He knows that one careless moment can damage trust, and trust takes time to rebuild. Another thing about a man who protects your peace is that he is consistent. Inconsistency is stressful. Mixed signals are stressful. Wondering where you stand is stressful. So when a man is serious, he removes that uncertainty. He shows up the same way today, tomorrow, and next week. You don't have to decode his behavior. You don't have to read between the lines. His actions speak clearly. Protecting your peace also means he respects your boundaries. He doesn't push you into conversations you're not ready for. He doesn't force intimacy before you feel safe. He doesn't guilt you for needing space or time. He understands that boundaries are not walls. They are guidelines for a healthy connection. And a man who loves you wants to stay within those guidelines, not break them. Let me say this clearly. A man who is not Arius will test your peace. He will see how much chaos you can tolerate. He will see how much disrespect you will excuse. But a man who loves you will guard your peace like it's his responsibility, because it is. When he chooses you, he chooses to be a safe place, not a storm. And here's something else. A man who protects your peace also protects your name. He doesn't speak negatively about you to others. He doesn't expose your vulnerabilities. He doesn't entertain conversations that disrespect you, because he understands that loving you means honoring you even when you're not around. When a man is really in love, he wants your life to be lighter with him in it, not heavier. He wants to add value, not anxiety. He wants to be the place you can rest, not another problem you have to manage. And men do not take on that responsibility lightly. That's why a man who moves slow often moves carefully. He's not reckless with your emotions. He's not impulsive with his decisions. He understands that peace is fragile, and once broken, it's hard to restore. So if being with him feels calm, if you feel emotionally safe, you feel respected even in disagreement, if your nervous system isn't constantly on edge, that's not boring. That's healthy. That's a man who is serious about you, protecting your peace one decision at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Harvey. Now this fourth point right here is the one that ties everything together, because when a man is really in love, he includes you in his future, but he does not rush you into it. And a lot of people misunderstand this part. They think if a man isn't pushing marriage, titles, or forever conversations right away, then he must not be serious. That's not always true. Sometimes a man slows down because he wants to do it right, not fast. A man who sees you as part of his future starts thinking differently. He doesn't just live in the moment anymore. He starts planning. He starts calculating. He starts asking himself real questions about stability, responsibility, and longevity. Because bringing someone into your future is not a small decision. It means your choices no longer affect just you. They affect her too. When a man is serious, he talks in a way that includes you naturally. He says things like we without forcing it. He mentions future events with you in mind. He considers your schedule, your goals, your dreams when making decisions. He doesn't treat you like a temporary chapter. He treats you like someone who belongs in the long story of his life. But here's the key difference. A man who truly loves you will not rush you into that future before he's ready to lead it properly. He doesn't want to promise what he can't maintain. He doesn't want to invite you into something unstable. He wants to be prepared, not just emotionally, but mentally and practically. Because love without preparation becomes pressure. A man who moves slow understands that timing matters. He knows that rushing can destroy something good. He knows that real commitment requires alignment, not just feelings. So instead of forcing milestones, he allows things to grow naturally. He lets trust develop. He lets connection deepen. He lets love mature. Including you in his future also means he cares about your growth. He doesn't feel threatened by your ambition. He doesn't compete with your success. He supports your goals because he understands that a strong future requires two whole individuals, not one person shrinking for the other. A man who loves you wants you to thrive, not depend. Another important sign is that he prepares space for you in his life, not just emotionally, but realistically. He makes room in his routine. He adjusts priorities. He makes decisions with long-term impact in mind. Because future thinking requires present action. And men do not do that for someone they see as temporary. A man who includes you in his future is also patient with your process. He understands that commitment is not just about saying yes, it's about being ready. He doesn't pressure you with ultimatums. He doesn't rush your healing. He doesn't force timelines that ignore your reality, because he wants your yes to come from confidence, not fear. Let me tell you something important. A man who is not serious talks about the future in vague ways. He says one day and someday with no direction. A man who is serious speaks with intention. He may move slow, but his actions align with his words. He's buoy, holding towards something, not just dreaming out loud. And here's the part that matters most. A man who truly loves you wants to bring you into his future at his best, not his worst. He wants to be proud of what he offers. He wants to feel secure in his ability to provide emotionally and mentally. That's why he doesn't rush. That's why he takes his time. That's why he's careful. So when you see a man planning, adjusting, growing, and moving with patience, understand that he's not dragging his feet. He's laying groundwork. He's preparing for longevity. He's making sure that when he commits, it's solid, stable, and built to last. A man who includes you in his future without rushing you is showing you one of the clearest signs of real love: respect for time, respect for process, and respect for you.